class, welcome to our math lesson. So to get us started and warmed up today, I want us to start out by looking at expanded form. Remember, expanded form is a way a number is written to show the place value of each digit. So 326 equals 300 plus 20 plus 6. Now, I want you to get out something to write on. It can be a piece of paper and a pencil. It can be the side of your math journal. It can be a dry erase board and a marker, okay? I want you to write the number 389 on your board or your paper. All right, I want you to write the expanded form of this number. Remember, giving the value of each digit. All right, go ahead. I'm going to give you a few seconds. If I don't give you long enough, you're welcome to pause the video. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at the expanded form of this number. So this is a 3-digit number, so I know it has ones, tens, and hundreds. This number has 3 hundreds, which has the value of 300. This number has 8 tens, which has the value of 80. And this number has 9 ones, which is the value of 9. So 389, written in expanded form, is 300 plus 80 plus 9. If you wrote that correctly, kiss your brains. Great job. Let's do another one. All right, go ahead and write this next number and show me the expanded form for this number. All right, if I haven't given you enough time, pause the video to practice writing that in expanded form. So this number has 3 digits, so I know that it's going to have the value of hundreds, tens, and ones. So I'm going to start with my largest digit, which is my hundreds place here. 300 has the value of 300. Then I'm going to add that to my tens. 7 tens has the value of 70. And 4 ones has the value of 4 ones. So the expanded form of 374 is 300 plus 70 plus 4. Yesterday in your math activity, they wrote it a little bit different. I want to write it for you that way also. All right, so when we look at this, it looks like our place value chart, doesn't it? 300 plus 70 plus 4 is 374. So I like the way that's written just because you can see how each place, how the value of each place is added together to get that total, okay? All right, so today we're going to go in and continue practicing with comparing numbers. Let's start by looking at our learning target. I can compare 2 3-digit numbers using the values of each digit and record the results using inequality symbols. So we know that 3-digit numbers are numbers that have hundreds, tens, and ones, okay? We looked at that word compare a little closer. Compare is to decide if numbers, amounts, or sizes are greater than, less than, or equal to each other. Now, the inequality symbols that we're going to use tell us more about how we compared those numbers. So let's look at the greater than symbol. The greater than symbol is used to compare 2 numbers when the first is greater than the second, okay? If you'll look, remember the point goes towards the smaller number. And then the opening goes towards the larger number. So if the larger number comes first, then you'll use the greater than sign. We also have the less than symbol that's used to compare 2 numbers when the first number is less than the second number. So when the first number is less than the second number, the point goes towards the smaller number and the greater number goes on the second side, okay? All right, so let's continue practicing with this today so that we can compare 2 3-digit numbers and their values and learn how to record those results. All right, now let's go ahead and let's look in our Ready Math Journal, Volume 2, on page 347. 347. All right, let's go ahead and let's read the question here. It says, there is a contest at the school fair. Students guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. Bart guesses 352 and Diego guesses 328. Which number is less? So let's talk about what's happening in this problem. What's happening here? We're looking at two numbers that were guessed and comparing those, weren't we? All right, let's go back now and let's see what information it is that we need to find out. There is a contest at the school fair. Students guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. Bart guesses 352 and Diego guesses 328. Which number is less? So we're trying to figure out here which number is less. Let's look at that word less. Less is used to compare data. It's used to compare two numbers, and you can compare ages or heights or distance. So let's compare your age to my age. I am 27 years old. Most of you are 7 or 8 years old. So who has the less age? You do, right? All right, so you can also compare distance. All right, let's see. We can compare the distance of your house to Piggly Wiggly or your house to Walmart. Which one has a less distance? Yeah, probably to Piggly Wiggly for most of you, at least those of you who live in Lincoln. That's probably a less distance for you. Now, if you live closer on like the outskirts towards Talladega, you might live closer to Walmart, okay? All right, let's go back and talk about this problem now. There is a contest at the school fair. Students guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. Bart guesses 352 and Diego guesses 328. Which number is less? What information is important here for us to know? It's important for us to know their guesses. So Bart guesses 352, Diego guesses 328. All right, guys, I want you to figure out which number is less and explain how you know that. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's look over at the second page here on some different ways that we can compare these numbers and things that we can, models that we can look at. Remember those representations. So the first thing that you might have done is you might have drawn a picture. So for 352, we drew 3 hundreds, 5 tens, and 2 ones. For 328, we drew 3 hundreds, 2 tens, and 8 ones. Okay? Now, we can easily look at that and compare, can't we? How do these models show each part of the number? Yeah, it shows our hundreds, and then our tens, and then our ones. We know that when we're comparing numbers, we look at the largest digit first. If we look at the largest digit here, we can see that they both have 3 hundreds. Now we're going to go to our second largest place, so our tens place. Here our tens have 5 tens, and here we have 2 tens. If we look, we know that they both have 2 tens, but one of them has more tens, right? So we can stop here, and we can already tell which number is less, can't we? Which one is less? All right, let's keep going and look at the model it here. So they took and they wrote their numbers in expanded form. 3 hundreds plus 5 tens plus 2 ones equals 352. 328 equals 3 hundreds plus 2 tens plus 8 ones. How does this model show the two numbers? Yeah, it expands out our hundreds, our tens, and then our ones. And we could use that to compare, can't we? Remember, we always start with our largest place value digit. So we have 300, so then we'll go to our next digit, which is our tens. 5 tens and 2 tens. Which one is less, 5 tens or 2 tens? Yep. 2 tens is less, isn't it? So now we can go ahead and we can look at the next page. So now let's go ahead and let's look at page 349. 349. And let's make some connections here. So it says, look at the picture and model it on the previous page. Can you use the numbers in the hundreds place to decide which number is greater? Why or why not? I want you to pause the video and talk to someone about that. We can't look at the hundreds place, can we? Why not? The hundreds are equal, aren't they? They both have 300s. So we can't look at the hundreds place to decide which number is less. Now compare the tens. Which number has more tens? 352 or 328, which has less tens? Yes, 328 has less tens. So remember, if we have less tens, then that means that the number is less than the other number. So now we're going to use the inequality symbols to record our results. 328 is less than 352. Okay? Remember, we use the less than symbol when the first number is smaller or has a less value than the second number. Bart says 2 is less than 8, so 352 is less than 328. Is Bart correct? Explain. All right, I want you to go ahead and pause the video and answer that question. All right, is Bart correct? No. Now, 2 is less than 8, right? But we have to think about our tens. If the number has a larger tens, then of course that one is the one that's going to be the larger number. So we can't just look at the ones place. We have to look at the digits of the other number, the other parts of the number also. All right, then you're going to reflect on number 5. Which models or strategies do you like best for comparing 3-digit numbers? So go ahead and pause the video, reflect on that so that we can use that strategy as we move on. All right, now let's go ahead and let's look over here at question number 6. It says, compare 761 and 716 using less than or greater than. Explain why your comparison is true. Okay, so we have looked at place value chart. We have looked at pictures and we have looked at models. So I want you to choose which strategy, like you talked about in number 5, which strategy that you like best for comparing numbers. I want you to work through number 6 using that strategy, and then I want you to unpause the video and let's check. All right, so I am going to expand out those numbers using a model. So 761 has 7 tens, which has the value of 700s. It has, I said 7 tens, 700s, which has the value of 700s. Has 6 tens, and it has 1 1. Now 716 has 700s, 1 10, and 6 ones. All right, now I know that I can look at my hundreds first. Can I use 700 and 700 to decide which number is greater or less? They're the same, aren't they? So I have to go to my next place. 6 tens or 1 10. Which one is greater? 6 tens or 1 10? 6 tens is greater, isn't it? So 761 is greater than 716. Now I need to record my results using an inequality symbol. So 761 is greater than 716. Okay, and here my model is my explaining why that comparison is true, because 6 tens is greater than 1 10. Okay, all right, number 7, write 2 ways to compare 487 and 478. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. See if you can write that 2 ways, and then you may unpause to check. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at these 2 numbers. So they both have 400. So can I use my hundreds place to compare? Got to go to my next place, my tens. There's an 8 in the tens place and a 7 in the tens place. Can I use those 2 numbers to compare? Yes. Which one's larger, 8 tens or 7 tens? 8 tens is 1 10 larger, isn't it? So 487 is greater than 478. So that's one way to write it. Another way to write it would be to flip it. So I could say 478 is less than 487. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and go to number 8. Liz is building a city out of plastic blocks. She uses 238 blocks for the school and 283 blocks for the fire station. She compares the 2 values. 238 is greater than 283. Explain the mistake Liz makes and write a correct comparison using less than or greater than. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can find her mistake. If you can, correct that mistake. All right, so let's look. I can already tell probably a mistake that she made is because they have the same 2 digits. They're just in a different order, which gives it a different value, right? So let's look at 238 and let's look at 283. They both have 200, so we can't look there, can we? We have to go to our tens. 3 tens and 8 tens. We know that 3 tens is less than 8 tens, right? But remember, Liz said it backwards, okay? She said that 238 was greater than. What place do you think she might have looked at? Yeah, she looked at her ones place. 8 is greater than 3, but we have to look at the digit that has the most value, don't we? So Liz made the mistake by looking at her ones place instead of starting with her larger place. So we know that 283 is greater than 238. All right, guys, I want you to rate yourself on how you feel. How do you feel about comparing 3-digit numbers? Are you a 1? I can do this all by myself. I could teach someone else how to do it. Are you a 2? You might need a little help. Are you a 3? You have no idea. You need a lot of extra practice, okay? You thinking about this is going to help you as you go into practicing independently to see how much support that you're going to need, okay?